the laundry room was always the worst part of apartment living. The air was the texture of old concrete and smelled like mildew mixed with stale dryer sheets, a sterile, hostile cold that sank into my bones. It was 3 a.m. and the single fluorescent tube overhead was singing a high, ragged frequency, stuttering just enough to make the shadows jump like tiny, panicked animals. I was meticulously folding a towel, trying to reclaim some small sense of control, when I heard it scrape. A faint, dragging sound from the back corner, near the locked steel maintenance door that promised a drop into the rarely used sub-basement. I froze, my hands suspended midair over the damn cloth. Pipes. Settling. Old buildings make noises. I tried to make myself believe it. Then, the floorboards above me. 3 stories of sleeping neighbors let out a long, structural groan, like an old ship deep-sea diving, or maybe just my upstairs neighbors shifting their immense weight. Scrape. This time it was closer. Much louder. It was definitely not the building settling. It sounded like something heavy and hard-bone, rock, or poorly maintained appliance being actively pulled across raw concrete, just on the other side of that door. My heart exploded against my ribs, an amateur percussionist trying to drown out the sudden, heavy silence. I glanced nervously at the door, then back to the soft, white cotton in my basket, desperately clinging to normalcy. The next 2 sounds arrived in perfect, sickening synchronization with my own pulse. Scrape. Scrape, as if challenging me. When my pulse sped up, the scraping accelerated. When I forced a slow, deep breath, the sound elongated, drawing out into a wet, deliberate hurrah. It was tracking me. I began to back slowly toward the main stairwell, not taking my eyes off the door. I had maybe 10 feet to go. I managed one silent step back, and that's when the light failed. Not a gentle fade, but a hard, instant click, leaving me blind in the suffocating blackness. The high-pitched electrical buzz died, replaced by a terrifying vacuum of sound. I could hear my blood roaring in my ears, but I could still hear it. The sound was no longer coming from the maintenance door. Drag. It was directly beneath my feet. My mind finally connected the dots. The heavy groaning I heard earlier wasn't the neighbor above me walking around. The groaning was coming from the floorboards of the apartment above this basement. But if the scrape was directly under my feet, and the floorboards above were groaning, I slowly raised my head and stared into the darkness of the concrete ceiling. There was a small, square, rusted air vent set right into the concrete above the dryer. The light snapped back on with a deafening pop, and in the sudden, violent illumination, I saw it, wedged against the rusted air vent directly above the dryer, a single pale, glistening orb pressed tight against the metal slats. It was an eye-wide, wet, and utterly lidless, staring down from the darkness of the false ceiling space, patiently waiting for the grate to give.